we will need to get. Oh, we need discussion. Oh, give up. Right, so could we have the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board?
Kia ora, Madam. Oh, sorry, kia ora Leanne and councillors. And I'll talk about our new name at Waipuna later on. But anyway, it gives us great pleasure to present our Community Board report to you today. And we have Part A matters. The recommendation that we approve the parking restrictions in, oh no, that's not a Part A, but the first one is that we decline the approval under the, are we onto that one? Under the Reserve Act to reclassify part of Denton Park, which is a separate report coming later. So I did try to seek guidance earlier in our chat before the meeting, Leanne, whether we actually ask questions at this part of the meeting, or be offered the opportunity to come to the table when that matter, the reclassification of Denton Park, is following the area reports. So that's. Are you happy with that? Yep.
Am I happy with
the process?
You're at the table now, and then we're going straight on to Denton Park.
Yes. So
if you just deal with Denton Park at the end of your presentation. That's fine.
Okay. And the approval of the reclassification. So we'll move on then to the next thing is the approval of heavy vehicle restrictions on various roads within our ward. That's something that's been an issue for quite a number of years, actually, is the inability to actually police those heavy vehicle restrictions. But what we have now is the ability for the police, for example, to actually pull over a moving vehicle and issue them with an instant infringement notice. So prior to this, it hasn't been the case. You've actually had to summons somebody to court. So we're very, very pleased with that progress. And the other thing I just wanted to clarify is the approval to construct 2 pedestrian pathways on Richmond Drainage Reserve adjacent to, there's a typo there, it's Knight's Stream School, not Knight Street School. So we're very happy to progress with that, and the Ministry of Education is actually paying for that, which is quite astounding. Moving on then to the Part A, we're going to talk about, I'd just like to take this opportunity again to actually thank the panel, the hearings panel, and the staff that supported the hearings panel on this process. And I'm sure all the submitters that took part in that, either for or against, were very, very grateful for the efforts and the way that was that process was carried out. So I know I did thank them at the extraordinary meeting, but I just take this opportunity now here today too to acknowledge the work of the panel and the staff supporting the panel. Other significant other significant projects in our board area are the Strengthening Communities Funds projects, which they're being processed. Quite a lot of those are being processed now, aren't they, Gary? So we're that's a work in progress. And the other partnerships with community and organisations is the New Zealand Institute of Sport Get Set Go workshop. So I understand that's been around other boards as well, taking part in that, Gary. So that's something that that we're really pleased to give people the opportunity. There's over 60 students who've attended tailored versions workshops specifically aimed at preparing them for future careers and working in community support, community sport at least. So that's something that's really good. Moving on then to the Upper Riccarton War Memorial Library. That's a work in progress still, and so is the Aldhurst Memorial Hall. So we're still working with those communities to find resolutions and way forwards on both of those, War Memorial Library and War Memorial Hall. And the very exciting infrastructure project update is Ngā Sports Hub, of course. And you can see the exciting coloured photos. Is that just a question that I'd like to ask of staff around? Are those stand, the grandstand beams, and are they coming from Jade Stadium? Because they look very similar to the ones that were above the Paul Kelly stand. No. They're not? Okay, okay. Just look very similar. So thanks for that, John. So the car park's all ready for use, and the track's almost finished. It's all it needs is, at the time of this report, was the staggered lines where you start, so that the person on the outside of the track doesn't have to run any different distance from the person on the inside lane. So we're all well aware of that, us athletes that have been running around tracks like that. The Hallswell Domain skate park update. Well, that's a work in progress, but it's due to be completed in December. But the exciting thing is the Night Stream Night Stream skate park update is not only coming on budget, but 2 months early. So I'd just like to really congratulate the team on that, and just let people know that if some have problems with, or should I not say anything about that?
It was where my thoughts were.
Oh, is it? Okay. So anyway, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to actually achieve what we have in Night Stream, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's actually opened now. It is open now, but it will be officially opened on Friday the 12th of October. So because it's been done ahead of time, we didn't really want to have it fenced off until then, did we? No, and the community didn't, so the barriers are down and people can use it. So that's a good news, very good news. Dean's Riccarton Road update, unless there's any questions on that, that's pretty straightforward, I think. But we're just waiting till the contracts are let for the next stage of Harakiki to Matapo, so that we can set up with the contractor a way of communicating for the community to actually communicate with the contractor to answer any questions or resolve any outstanding issues on the way forward with this difficult engineering work. Moving on then to the Riccarton Racecourse alcohol ban. So that's something that comes around every year, and maybe one of these days it'll become permanent. The Templeton Community Submission Writing Workshop with council staff and the community have actually been working with the Templeton Residents Association to help them with compiling written submissions on to the decision-making process, including resource consent applications and long-term plan and local projects. So I think that's a really good initiative from staff to actually get involved with the Residents Association and help them to get their head around thinking about what might happen if they need to make submissions when Selwyn District, Fulton Hogan actually... Oh, you're saying time's up. I thought I was going to have a little bit more. Yeah, thank you. So that's wonderful. Me, that's in the Riccarton, excuse me, in the Riccarton area for children aged between 8 and 13 years to think positively about themselves. They're working with the University of Canterbury on that one, so that's a good news story. The council's graffiti program, of course, is 10 years old, so there's an invitation to an event coming up on that. And the Community Service Awards, we did touch briefly on that at the last, but here it is now. Brother Jimmy is the information on the Community Service and Youth Awards that we held in the Riccarton Racecourse Tea House, and we were entertained by the Iranian Society with their excellent dancing. I'm moving on to the Halswell-Hornby event for the next one next year in March next year. As the planning for that is underway now as we speak, and yeah, other matters, progress, on the community plan and community board matters of interest. I'd just like to briefly say that because it's mentioned here about the area around the old Addington sale yards. But it's quite exciting that that the university are actually doing a study, aren't they, into fly tipping in our ward, and they've asked our community board members for areas. So it'll be interesting, and they're going to give the feedback of this fly tipping investigation to our board. So we'll probably have great pleasure in passing that on to the council as well as what they discover from that. So and the other is, of course, the Student Volunteer Army. That's our star group, and it's really pleased to see that that's sort of gone viral, because it started here in Christchurch, as we know, at the time of the earthquakes, but it's grown now to it's not only students, there's other people involved in that as well, and it was really moving to see the partnership with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Some of the survivors from that tragedy coming out here and being involved with our Student Volunteer Army and community and planting some trees in Halswell Quarry in recognition of that very sad event. So that's and the other thing is, of course, helpful random facts is Waipuna, which is Y for water and Puna for spring, is very appropriate for our ward, and we're very grateful to have received that at our last board meeting. And because we do have the headwaters of the three rivers starting from springs in our ward, so couldn't be more appropriate. And it's interesting to know that the Riccarton stream goes, a lot of people don't realise it, but it flows directly under the Westfield Moor and then pops back out on the other side of
Division Street.
Division Street, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, there we are. I won't ask, is there any questions, because that's for you to ask, Madam Leanne.
Two questions. First one regarding to the Halswell-Hornby.
Yes.
My understanding that this year when we organized the committee members, but during that time the Greater Hornby Resident Association, they have not yet established. I suggest this time next year we should consider invite their chair or their committee member as in part of the committee member.
Yep.
That's in the Hornby area.
Yep. We can make that. We can look at that.
Yes, so it's actually important to.
Yeah,
it's actually important to realise that that committee is not led by council; it's led by the community.
Yes.
So the community will decide who's on the committee, and council staff have no involvement in that.
Okay. Secondly is because the committee board meeting on 24th July, committee board approved for some of the local law, a local law ban for those the heavy vehicle you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
I just want to know, that's a part B or part A, because today I didn't see this information.
That's a, that's part, it's not a part A. It's
Part B, okay.
Yes, yes it
In
is.
part B, when will be the tax effect
I think it's effective as of
already?
now.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it already yesterday I got a phone call, you know, from the Seymour Street, the resident.
Yes.
Still complain the heavy motor vehicle still pass through.
Yes, I know the gentleman.
When will be the
Yeah.
tax effect? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
It's to-
So we'll find out officially, but it's my understanding currently that it is effective now, so
But
I
there
might
is
be wrong.
signage. Those are signage you need
Yep.
to install.
Yes,
Otherwise-
signage is already there, brother. Signage is already
Thank
there.
you.
Has been for quite a few years actually. It's just been difficult to enforce. That's all.
Thank you.
Aaron, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just did around Mike on the property review process, because that's come around all the boards, and your boards opted to retain everything. We opted to sell everything because we're trying to chip into the
Is that
coffers.
the same paper?
And
It's a part A.
well,
Part A.
are we dealing with it separately?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll wait.
okay. So could we, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.